AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
When it comes to delivering flowers for life's special occasions, trust the name that's been setting the standard for nearly 50 years. 1-800-Flowers.com. From breathtaking bouquets to one-of-a-kind arrangements, 1-800-Flowers is your authority on quality blooms. Always fresh, always stunning, always delivered with care. And right now, for a limited time, you can save up to 40% off your bouquet and make someone's day. Save up to 40% off today at 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast.
Good morning, class. My name is Oliver Wieheog, and I am a 28-year veteran of the middle school classroom. And you are listening to episode 21 of Middle School Madness, a podcast about teaching and things that are interesting to teachers. Now, one of the many qualities that I admire about teachers are when they can bring their passions or hobbies into the classroom. When the art teacher is also an artist and you can see their work. When the English teacher is also a writer and you can read their writing. Or maybe it's a strange mixture of the art teacher who's an electrician. Or maybe there's an elementary school teacher who writes books about fly fishing. Today we're going to go visit one of the teachers in our building, who is a French teacher who has a love and a passion for France and is able to bring this into her classroom. So I'm going to head on down the hallway and we are going to go visit the one and only Heidi Thomas. So Heidi, tell us, how did you get to where you are today as a French teacher in a middle school?
So do you want I have two ways that I was thinking about approaching this. Do you want this as like my why I started and like college and all of that? Or do you want a more interesting aspect for me is how I started to travel and what I have done with that? Because that is a whole different level. That has to do with school as well. So I didn't know.
Do the two Venn diagram, do they overlap a little bit? Does one lead to the other?
I mean, kind of, yeah, in a way.
Start with how you became a teacher, and then from that moment, bring us into how you bring your travel and everything you do outside of it into the classroom.
Okay. Well, I knew from the very, second grade that I was going to be a teacher. I just knew, and I think a lot of teachers feel that way. You just knew that that's where you were going. I didn't know what I was going to teach. But then as I got into high school, I have a degree in both English and French, and I've taught both English and French. I adore grammar. And I know that is such an old school thing, but I have a very anxious mind and I have a lot of anxiety and I deal with a lot of panic, and grammar makes my brain feel safe, and it makes my brain feel like it has like a puzzle that you can just put together, and it makes me calm. And I know that is the most bizarre answer, but I truly love the whole aspect of any language and how it's a puzzle that your brain has to figure out and put together. And for me, it's incredibly calming. And it makes sense. And it's this beautiful thing that you can physically manipulate and put together. And so I loved grammar. I love reading, and I loved my French teacher in high school. And I did not come from a family that traveled. The biggest thing we did was to go to SeaWorld in the summer. That was the big, when you're from this 1970s, that's what we did. And I never in a million years dreamed that I would ever leave Pennsylvania or Ohio. Never, ever. And I thought, well, I can study French. I can get good at it. I can dream about it. And that I can share that with other people. But I never thought that I was going anywhere.
Really?
Ever.
Wow.
Yes. And then in college, my French professor wanted me to go on this exchange program in Quebec for it was during the summer. And I thought, wow, this is really a big deal. So I didn't know if I was ready for that. And I went, loved it. But still, I thought, this is just, something little. So I was the French teacher who had never been to France for years.
Right.
For years and years and years.
Wow.
So that's kind of how I just like my interest in why I chose to do what I do.
So you had been teaching for what, like a decade plus?
Mm-hmm.
And then now you're thinking, I need to go to Paris, to France to see.
Not exactly like that. I actually had a moment a couple of years ago where I was feeling burned out, and I, had been coaching every team that came along the pike with my daughters. Mm-hmm. I just was involved in everything for everyone, and I never once stopped to think, what do I love? And that really put me on a big pause for a while. And then, and I was starting to really be overwhelmed here. And, I think for a lot of teachers, our whole personality is teaching. Like everything we do is about teaching. And we can't help it. But then at some point you realize, who am I? Like, actually, who am I? And I don't mean to get deep in your podcast, but I really was starting to break down because it was just, I had lost everything of who I was. And so I decided to take a sabbatical and take a professional sabbatical. And I thought, well, I don't want to go to Slippery Rock and get my reading cert. I don't want to I don't want to become a principal. I don't care about those things.
Right.
And then I thought, what do I want to learn? I want to do something. And so I created this professional sabbatical of going to Italy to study art history because I love art, and to go to France to take French classes because I hadn't taken them in 15 years, and to go to Quebec. So I made this 3-part professional sabbatical that I was going to do by myself, on my own, travel on my own. Nobody else was involved. And it was the scariest thing I've ever done and the most wonderful. And I'm telling you, Oliver, from that moment on, I have not stopped going.
Wow. That is great. You literally took a class in French? Like a French class to speak it better?
Yes, in Florence, in Italy, I joined a school. I took a course with an art history professor who took me to every museum and taught me like we were in the museums learning about the art history. And then in France, I joined a school in the south of France and did schooling there. And in Quebec, I had a one-on-one professor who also worked with the government for people who needed to be certified in English and French to be a part of their government, because you have to be able to speak both no matter where you live in Canada.
Right.
And it was a very organic class because I didn't know what I needed. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what I wanted to learn because I already knew, most of the things I needed to know school-wise. But
So you're over there, right? And I guess we all have it. The light bulb goes off.
Yes.
You're like, this is really cool.
Yes.
I can do more traveling. Do you have the same thought? And this is funny to me because I don't even teach French. But as you know, you helped us go to Paris. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there in these train stations going, I felt so compelled to take pictures of the movie posters or pictures of ads, because I'm like, well, if they ever say, Oliver, we need a French teacher, go teach French. I'm like, oh, I've got pictures, and guys, we can translate these because it's like, pop culture.
Absolutely.
Does that begin to pop into your head because you've been there, you've seen these things where you here's ideas now that I can bring back into my classroom?
1,000%. 1,000%. Yeah. And that has definitely changed the way that I teach and the way that I guess, integrate. Because so often in school, language is taught in these little pockets. Like you have your grammar, you have your speaking, and you have your culture. So you learn all of those things, but not together. And it has changed the way that I present material. And it has changed, like, so units are thematic and it's more, real life. Like if you were going to leave like tomorrow with your parents, could you get on the metro? Could you get around?
Right.
Do you know how to read this, and how can that fit with what's required in our curriculum?
So now you've been going over to Paris for how many years now?
For about 13.
So 13 years.
Yes.
Did you notice a difference in the classroom because you could bring back like an authentic experience of your own travels? I mean, did you notice the kids, would they perk up a little more? Was there more engagement because you had the light bulb go off and now you're sharing that? Was there a difference with the students?
I'm not sure. There's definitely a difference with me. I think I felt more confident, obviously, because always in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, no matter how much I know, and I am a total nerd who studies things off. Like I'll go home and read like verb conjugate. Like I love that. But in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, I'm a fake. I am a phony because I've never been to France. And how can I tell my own students that this is important? Or when I'm afraid, it was fear. When I'm afraid to go somewhere.
Right.
So I had to gain the confidence and face a lot of my own fears and anxieties, which don't have anything to do with school, but just who I am.
We've all got them.
Yeah,
right?
for
We've
sure.
all got them.
But it also has helped me connect with the students. When Andrew and I started our travel program to Quebec, which was the best thing that has ever happened, we were able to take care of our students because for them, that was the first time that they were leaving home, that they were in another country, that they're like, oh my gosh, this is actually French, even though it's Canada. And it was scary for them. And they didn't think it was going to be. But once you get there, they're like looking at us like we're mom and dad. Like, what do we do? Where do we sit? What do we say? And I was able to be, kind of like a confidence booster for them. Like, you've got to fail. You've got to mess up. You've got to try. You've got to feel silly. And I think in school, kids want to be perfect. They don't want to volunteer unless they know the answer for sure. They don't want to try something unless they know for sure they're going to get it right. We are born based on our society that you cannot do something wrong.
Great point, isn't it?
And I think that is just a terrible service for our students in something like language, art, really anything. If you want to get good at something, it's a skill. You've got to mess up.
You got to fail.
You've got to fail, and you've got to show the kids that you're not perfect as a teacher, that you also fail. You also don't know the words for things. You also say things that somebody's like, wait, what? And I had to get over that idea of I am not perfect in this, no matter how much I study. So
that's really cool. I mean, that's a nice thing. And you've heard my great story, and I think it's so funny because there I am, 54, frozen, with all the fear in the world at that bus stop in Italy.
Yeah, I love that so
and
much.
People look at me like, come on. I go, guys, it's hysterical. I said, I have walked the Appalachian Trail, sections of it. I have brought, young men down the Allegheny River, and I do the hand gestures, We have biked the C&O Canal, 127 miles. And in 12 hours, I go from my little town to someplace in Italy. I couldn't tell you where it was, and I completely froze.
It's because it's scary.
It is. And international travel, like you said, it kind of just takes your breath away if you haven't done it, because everything's new. It's like, well, they look like people. They move like people. These are buildings, but everything looks and moves and sounds a little different. My head is not able to comprehend it.
Absolutely. No, that's such a good example. I love that story of yours because shows how we do freeze. And then you can't think. And then it's like, but I think there are layers to that. It's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. What if they look at me funny? It's like all of these things that we internalize that actually don't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like they actually don't matter, Oliver. But our students are growing up like that too. So imagine them sitting in class and then feeling that way. And it's a lot.
Oh, it's a ton.
Yeah.
Especially here, because once again, we are, as we know, we're in the middle, somewhere between, preteen and puberty and chaos and mayhem. And you're trying to get them to, like you said, they want to fit in and associate and all of that stuff. Is there one story, like I love these moments in teaching, which makes me think, is there one story or anecdote or any time where you talk about your travel, where you look out in that classroom and you're like, this gets them every time. Like they're quiet now. They're listening, Do you have a moment like that because now you've traveled for 13 years? And, you just go to tell about your travels in class, which I imagine you do. And then you look up and you're like, that's a story that gets you to pay attention. Right?
Well, I do have one story that they like. And I think they like it because I was getting in trouble. And so I think that they find humor in that. But it was when I first took my whole family to Paris, and that was their first time being there. And I didn't know, because I hadn't been there enough on my own, that you have to keep your metro tickets, because if you get off the metro, even if you have them to get on and you can't find them in your pocket, there could be police at any stop checking your ticket. Mm-hmm. And I had 50 tickets in my pockets. I had my two of my daughters. I had my husband's. I didn't know a ticket, and I didn't know that you had to do that. And there was a police waiting there for us, for everybody getting off the metro, checking tickets. Well, my husband got through because he found one that was working. My other daughter got through. And then me and my other daughter were trapped on the other side. And they did not care about my story, about like, I have all of these tickets. Do you want to start scanning them? And I'm sorry, I didn't know it. I'm sorry, I'm from the United States. Like anything I said, they're police. They're trying to like roll people through. Right. And my youngest daughter was hysterical because she's like, we're getting arrested in Paris. And don't they know that we're American? And she's carrying, oh my gosh, it was like, and then my husband's like, just cross the line. So there's all this chaos. Everybody's looking at us. And I'm the person that's supposed to be solving this, because so I just said, I don't have the tickets. What can we do? Right. So we had to pay a very steep fine. It was a couple $100s for both of us. And thankfully I had it. And then they let us through. But it was a huge lesson for me.
Wow.
But my students do love that, because they're like, oh my gosh, the police, what do you mean? And did they get you? Did you get through?
Yes.
And because, I didn't know. And sometimes you learn things through like.
Well, you got to.
By not knowing. Right?
When things go wrong, you start learning very quickly.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So that is something I do tell every year.
That is classic.
Yes.
I love it. I love it, right? Because everyone's got that story. Now that you've been going, once again, for so long, and I think silly things. When I went over this summer, I made sure that I didn't bring anything to shave with. Like I purposely knew, because I was
really, I didn't know this, Oliver.
I am not. Well, one, if you ever saw me not shaving, it looks like a squirrel died on my face. And I knew that I wanted to force myself to buy something over there.
Buy something French.
Right. I just wanted to go into a store and muddle my way through it. And I'm like, well, it's either contact solution or shaving. But I'm like, I'll go shaving, right? I know. And it was so great to find some little, it's like the New York, little bodega down from, where we were.
Yes.
That awesome hotel. And then to go in there. And it was so much fun to look at packages in French.
So true.
And then it's like, oh my God, this is the exact same like Gillette shaving cream at home. I just can't read any of it.
I know. It's so true.
So I bought some shaving cream. I bought way too many. I think it was like $15 of, disposable razor blades. Still trying to get through them. Like I had to put
that'll be your souvenir from Paris for the year.
Yes. And it was so much fun to like bring stuff back and like, I have it and I see it when I go to shave, and it just makes me think of a great time. But so the question that I'm digging at for this is, how have your trips that you've gone over there, like what is like something that you teach every time that is a reflection of your trips and all of your traveling?
that I teach in my classroom. Well, something we do a lesson on every year is using the metro and using public transportation, because that's something that we don't have here, where we live in Butler County.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very useful and it's very real. And the kids really like it because they get to understand how to read a map. They get to understand I remember one year, one student said, "Oh my gosh, this helped me in New York because I knew that how to look for the last stop or figure out which direction you were going to." So that was really good, because those are life skills that, again, that are real things. So I definitely teach that. And that's something we do every year for sure. I love the grocery shopping, just what you were talking about. And I tell the kids every time, if you ever go to another country, go into a grocery store.
Yes.
You will learn so much about, oh, you don't refrigerate eggs here? Why? You don't refrigerate milk here? Why? You guys eat white asparagus in a jar? Why? What, just the snacks and the what people drink, and the fact that you can take water bottles out of the plastic. When here you'd get arrested if you just took out an Evian bottle out of a pack of 6. That's what you do.
Right.
So I love talking about stuff like that.
And it is fascinating. We did the street tour that you told us to do.
Yes, your food tour.
The secret door, hidden door.
Yes, the secret
really
food
good.
tour. Love those.
But I love this because, once again, it's not part of the American culture. But if you want to call yourself a chocolatier, you had to make it there.
Absolutely.
You're not buying it from Anderson's Chocolate and just putting it in your store and calling yourself a chocolate maker. If you want it to be a bakery, a patisserie, you have to bake the goods there.
100%.
And I was like, that is so fascinating.
Oliver, you're a good student in Paris. Those are all things that we learn about. That's amazing.
Because it was great. I'm like, I go, this is great. So when I go there now and I talk to the person behind the counter, they actually did get up at 3 a.m. to make that bread
100%.
or to make the little pastry that I had. I'm like, I thought that was so cool than just going into Bruegger's, Starbucks, where I know they bought some kind of food that was probably shipped to them in a box of 25.
Absolutely.
Stick it in the machine. What is it? Find the button that matches the food, and boom, there it is. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. And that's something that surprises the kids every time, because we teach a whole unit on the different shops, and they can't believe that it's actually against the law to call yourself a boulangerie if you're not making the bread on the premises.
Right.
Or, you can't sell somebody else's, like you just said, somebody else's goods. You can't put that on your sign. And they're like, well, what happens to you? So they love to learn those things because it's different.
Yeah.
And it's cultural.
I could totally see. Yeah, I would think in this class, that's where their ears would pick up a little bit.
Yes.
Besides, you guys still conjugate? Is that a thing?
Oh my gosh, it's such a thing.
Okay, right.
I love every second of conjugation, Oliver. Do not make a face about conjugation.
Okay, I would be like, when they're finally yes, Madam Thomas, we'll conjugate that.
Oh no, I'm like, let's go. Get your charts going.
So I guess, how do you I don't know, it's always that thing because you've got so many years. You meet the new foreign language teacher. What kind of advice for them, or any teacher in general, would you give them about how to incorporate their passion into the classroom to help gain that kind of street cred for what it is they're about to do on their subject or anything?
So you mean just in general, any kind of teacher coming in?
In general, because to me, it's very I think of those moments where I tell a story about me making a video, taking a picture, and the class goes dead. Or I pull up my YouTube stats from my mediocre channel, and now they're paying attention.
Absolutely.
And I tell them little stories of things that I've done, and they never go wrong because those are the best stories.
Yes, those are the best stories.
And now they're paying attention. And I'm like, gosh, if there ever was a new teacher that I had to bump into, and that was like, oh, I didn't know you had a YouTube. Why would you do that? And my response is, well, I do it because, one, I like it. And I think it also says I'm going to put my money where my mouth is.
100%, Oliver. And I just, when I was thinking about that question, I really think that we have to make things real and personal for the kids, because it's just like history. I hated history all through school. I just started loving history probably in the last 5 years because I am teaching myself the stories behind the people. And it's that personal connection, I think, that gets people. Yeah, of course they're going to want to see that their teacher that's teaching TV movie has a YouTube channel. That's cool. And that's real. And that's like, oh, Mr. Wea has a life and he's doing these things. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I think that's interesting for kids. And it's this, we have this big wall, I think, between being an educator and what we're sharing, when really we shouldn't, because you should be teaching what you love. And my whole personality is Paris. Like, hands down, there is not anything that I do that is not related to my job.
Right. And that's
There's
great.
not. Everything I do outside of school is this huge hodgepodge of, like, when I was thinking about when were asking about hobbies, and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I even say? I mean, I have a Substack. I have an Instagram that I'm very active on. I have a business that I run in Paris. I read, I write, I have a book that's published. I mean, you name it, I'm in it. I take art classes through different museums. These are all for fun. This is my fun.
Right. Yeah.
This is my fun. This is real for me. So, and I think I think any teacher who brings that in is the kids are going to listen.
That's a great answer, by the way. That's really good. I love that. You got to bring your hobbies in, and you got to have more than one, and you got to do it all. And one of those words you said, I don't even know what it is. I think it was Substack. Is that
Yes.
right? I'm like, I'm not sure what that is. You got me. And I know a lot of technology. I do not know what that word is.
It's a writing, form. I don't even know what you call them because I don't know the technology terms, but it's a platform for writers. So it's a little more serious than posting something on Instagram or posting something on, but it's still like social media.
Got it.
But it's a little more serious. But I just started those. I mean, in my free time, that's all I do that's my personality. You know, like what I do here is a part of all. So I'm not faking what's going on in here. Do you know what I mean? And I think the kids sense when things are fake and they're just like, oh yeah, okay, well, I'm learning about this. Cool.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, we do editing and, there's always editing, and a kid will show up with their laptop and their editing software and they'll be like, Mr. Wea, it didn't save, right? Even though it's cloud-based or it didn't do its thing. And my response is, welcome to editing. I said, if I had a time, I was making YouTubes or making a movie and I spent an hour and it crashed and none of my things worked and I had to go back and redo it, I have a lot of that. I go, but here's the thing. When you do it the second time, it'll be faster and better because now you know what you're doing. And that 7th grade expression is always like, oh man, I hate you.
Right. Because it's extra
Because it's
work.
extra and
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. But because I think the voice is like, but you'll be faster and better. And there's only one way to figure it out. Now you got to go do it. Right.
Absolutely.
And that kind of authentic relating, I think, is always just so helpful in the classroom.
Well, and I think what's really cool, I wanted to tell you this because one of my students that I have, a 7th grader, we were doing a question of the day on the Louvre and I had the picture up and we had our stuff up and he was like, wait, he said, I've seen that before. He said, I saw it on Mr. Wea's something or other. I don't know if it was whatever he said that he follows.
Yeah.
And I said, he's like, yeah, I know what that is. And he said, how does he have that? How do you have? And I said, well, I will tell you that I was in Paris with Mr. Wea.
Yes.
And I went to dinner with him and his wife and they were like, oh my God. And we saw this, but just the fact that somebody saw that in your class and then was sitting here just learning and just waiting. And they're like, oh my God, wait.
I've seen that.
Connection.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. They're fun to
in
make.
a different way. Like you were showing how, like something, a picture.
It was 2 pictures, like iPhone or
yes,
full
yes,
frame
yes.
camera.
So
right?
technology and also a real life example. And
Right.
then I'm doing it as culture. And hello, that's a connection that a kid made, and we were not even working together on that.
Nope. Well, not really.
I mean, in the
behind
summer
the
we
scenes,
were.
you were telling me where to go, what time to get there.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
like you knew months ahead. That was the first thing I planned, was go into the Louvre and my cameras and my lenses, and I was so excited to be there to take that picture.
Right, absolutely.
You know?
And how awesome though that a kid was able to put your
that is
your
cool.
class together with mine and just be like, hey, wait, I think it was Mr. Weah's class that I saw this in. So I thought that was really awesome.
Look
and
at,
I wanted
look
to share
at us.
that
We're
with
doing
you.
cross-curricular.
We're doing cross-curricular. We didn't even know it.
I love it. All right, Heidi, let's finish up. We are down to the final 3 questions. Here we
Okay.
go. What are you reading? What are you watching? And what is your guilty pleasure after a long week in the middle school?
Okay, so I'm not watching anything because I don't watch TV. Unless it is a French movie. And so I'm not really watching anything right now. Sometimes I watch like little series if they're French. Like I've really kind of narrowed my life down.
And so wait, I just got to ask.
Okay.
Because
I'm
Mrs.
ready.
Weah, Heather, has now gone through, I think, all 4 seasons of Emily in Paris.
Yes,
Did you watch Emily in Paris?
I did.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
Fair
Yes.
enough. What are you reading?
I'm always reading several books at one time. So I'm reading a book called Chasing Beauty about the Isabella, what's her middle name? Isabella Gardner Stewart, the museum in Boston.
Okay.
And I'm reading about her life because I'm very intrigued about women in the art field. And her museum is very famous. I'm reading It Girl, The Life and Legacy of Jane Birkin, who is also Frenchy. Well, she was British, but she was like French, adopted by the French. And I'm reading, so both of those are nonfiction. And then I'm reading a book called The Chanel Sisters, which is fiction, historical
okay.
fiction about Coco Chanel and her sister.
Oh, cool.
So I have books all over. I have one in my car. I have several around my house. So whatever I'm in the mood for, I'm like, oh, I feel like reading a little bit more about Jane Birkin. So I'm going to come over in this room. And so I am reading all of the time.
And then after a long week in the middle school, what is your guilty pleasure?
So I love to make fake, which actually turn into real, like fake trips. Like itineraries for, like if I could have my dream trip to Paris, what would it be? And then I just go crazy with and I literally, I'm not kidding. This is what I do for fun. Or if I wanted to connect this artist who worked in France and also worked in Italy, how could I create a trip so that's what I do for fun. I have a whole notebook full of them.
That is fantastic.
Of just itineraries and like cool like things that I would like to do. And they're all thematic. And so that's like Friday night, you will find me on my computer and in my little notebook doing research and creating my dreams.
I love it. I love it. As they say, Heidi, that is the sound of the bell. It is time to shut down the smartboard, turn off the lights, and leave the greatest playground in the world, our classrooms. Thank you so much. This was great. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Oliver. It was so fun. I could talk about my passions forever. So thank you for listening.
Oh, anytime. And then we'll see you in the hallway.
Yes, or in Paris.
Oh, I hope so. I got to go back. That place was awesome.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's rubrik.com.